Good morning. My name is Becky Strum. I'm a member of this congregation and of the worship team. And today it's my pleasure to serve as worship associate for Margie Levine Young. As may be obvious, Margie is a lifelong UU who has been a member of this congregation for 25 years. She's a member of the Board of Trustees and was just elected clerk. Margie retired from her position as web team manager at the Unitarian Universalist Association in 2020. And I also want to point out, maybe she's not here, but her gorgeous granddaughter Juniper is here today. You are welcome here no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background. You're welcome to join us in community as we live, learn, and love together. Now is the time in our service to light our flaming chalice, which is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. As Margie lights the chalice, you all have the words of the chalice lighting in your order of service. Again, to give our tech team a break, we're not using the screens today, so follow along as we light the chalice. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us. And Margie and I both are going to do the.
It's quite a flame. I think
Yes.
we'll keep an eye on it.
All righty, here we go. These are the opening words. Welcome, who come in friendship, who long for genuine community.
May you be graciously received here as your authentic self.
Welcome, who come in curiosity, full of questions, or simply open.
May you embrace wonder and encounter new delights.
Welcome, who come heavy with fatigue, weary from troubles of the world or the troubles of your particular life.
May you rest and be filled in this sacred space.
Welcome, who come with joy for overflowing rivers and gentle breeze, for changing skies and great trees.
May the grace of the world leave a lasting imprint in you.
Welcome, who come with thanks for the altruism of the earth and the gift of human care.
May your grateful heart overflow and bless those around you.
Come, let us celebrate together this wondrous life. So, our first reading today is from the Breadloaf Mountain Zen Center's website. Joshin Burns said, "I suggest a core practice of gathering, embracing the art of togetherness, mindful welcoming, just listening and being present for each other, and responding out of a felt sense of kinship. There is nothing more important. By doing this, we bring calm, connection, and care into our communities, and peace to ourselves and others. Connecting daily with people from different generations, backgrounds, cultures, worldviews, and life experiences, we encounter challenges and difficulties. It is not always easy to stay connected to people who are different from you. When we do, we also discover beauty, hope, and the miracles of life and moment. Each moment of togetherness builds the future, embodying the essence of peacemaking.
Our second reading is from The Weekly Sift, which is a political newsletter by my UU friend Doug Mooter. You should all read it. Writing about why the working class appears to support the rise of fascism. And he comes out of the working class and has written very expressively about how it feels from their point of view. The people who shower after work have gotten so alienated from the people who shower before work that anyone who takes on the educated elite seems to be their ally. In the minds of many low-wage workers, the enemy is not the very rich, but rather the merely well-to-do, people with salaries and benefits and the ability to speak the language of bureaucracy and science. Actual billionaires like Musk or Trump or Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg are so distant, it's hard to feel personally threatened by them. But your brother-in-law, the psychologist, or your cousin who got the engineering degree, you know they look down on you. Whenever they deign to discuss national affairs with you at all, it's that parent to child, you don't really understand tone of voice. And let's not even mention your daughter who comes home from college with a social justice agenda, everything you think is wrong, and she can't even explain why without using long words you've never heard before. Somebody with a college degree is telling you what to do every minute of your day, and yet you're supposed to be the one who has privilege.
And our third reading is from the book Radical Curiosity by Seth Goldenberg, which Reverend Tricia referred to in her sermon on curiosity. We are surrendering our language, our tools, and our spaces for benevolence, watching the extinction of dialogue occur like a slow-motion train wreck. We no longer have honest, earnest, constructive exchanges in civil society. We have normalized divisiveness, which vaporizes the appetite for inquiry. It undermines the hunger for exploration, shutting the door before the pleasure and joy of conversation can even begin. And conversation is truly a pleasure. There is even new evidence emerging that our brainwaves might synchronize as people interact and cooperate on certain tasks. The only medicine for this mental health pandemic is dialogue. Not because a conversation directly fixes the mess, but because conversations lead to fixing the mess, slowing us down, changing our tempo, and putting us in a state of hearing each other, able to gain new insights and engage in peaceful cooperation, shrinking the distance between the two polar endpoints. We'd all do well to experience our brain waves synchronizing with those of another person.
Well, hello. I am Margie Levine-Young, a longtime member and fairly new board member of CVUUS. And I'm here to talk about what I have learned as a volunteer at Gather and how it relates to my spirituality as a Unitarian Universalist. Let me start with a story. This past March, a bunch of us gathered on the green to demonstrate for women's health. I think a lot of you were there. We were standing around in the cold, preparing to march around town. We had lots of signs decrying the current administration. I spotted a man in kind of the back of the crowd with a MAGA hat. He was occasionally shouting things like, "Make America great again," and "Long live Trump." what to do. People were ignoring him, but it felt like a situation that could get ugly. I went over to stand next to the man. What to say to a guy who probably disagrees with the whole point of the march? Luckily, I knew the man. I'll call him George. I asked him how he was, and we chatted. I'm here to make sure that no one threatens Vance or Trump, he told me. And I assured him that that was pretty unlikely. We disagreed about some political statements he made, as you can probably imagine, but the conversation remained friendly. I told George to stay warm and that I'd see him around. The situation no longer felt tense to me, and I hope that the other people on the green felt more comfortable seeing that we were talking. How did I know George? I met him at Gather. So what is Gather, anyway? For those of you who haven't been there, Gather is the community living room that was created by the local Bread Loaf Mountain Zen community in 2023. Bread Loaf Mountain Zen practices community-based Zen, that is, Zen-inspired direct service in our local community as a means of supporting personal liberation, social transformation, and spiritual flourishing. Not too different from us. Their guiding teacher is Joshin Brian Burns, who's also been a member of this congregation, and he's sitting right over there. I'm delighted that he's here. And several of our members are also active in this community. Bread Loaf Mountain Zen's first projects addressed food insecurity in the Rutland area, but they soon determined that the issue that they could best address is the epidemic of loneliness and disconnection. Hence, Gather. Gather opened on Valentine's Day 2023, and it was between Town Hall Theater and the railroad tracks. This June, Gather moved just around the corner from here at 26 Court Street. It consists of a living room, kitchen, big dining room table, and meeting room. The new location also includes a crafts room. We're going to have lots of projects. And the meditation room, the Zendo, and offices of Bread Loaf Mountain Zen. When it opened 2 years ago, people started coming in for coffee and conversation, and a community of regulars developed. There's always coffee, tea, snacks, lunch, friendly hosts, all provided by volunteers. There are art projects, community acupuncture, knitting lessons, big surprise for those of you who know I'm always sitting back there knitting every Sunday, and a boisterous sing-along every Saturday morning. It's open every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., so think about dropping in. So who comes to Gather? All kinds of people. The Zen community, of which I'm a friendly observer, always has volunteers there when it's open, including several people who are probably here today. If you want to raise your hands, I can see a couple. Barnaby has been a volunteer in the past. We get our share of homeless folks and charter house clients who are looking for lunch or a warm or cool place to spend the day. We get folks who are in some kind of assisted living situation or in recovery. But we also see lots of people who are just lonely. They're looking for a community. They're looking for someone to play cribbage with. They just want fellowship, or maybe they've arranged to meet a friend. It's a bit like CVUUS, actually. I started volunteering at Gather because my friend Colleen Brown, who's sick, so she's not here today, but normally she'd be right over there, she's a member here, but she's also very, very involved in Bread Loaf Mountain Zen. She was organizing the volunteers before Gather opened, and they were trying to figure out what kind of activities do we have to have things happening. So I said, I could show up for 4 weeks in a row, ready to teach knitting. I could have extra needles and yarn to give away. That was over 2 years ago, and I haven't missed that many weeks. Almost no one wants to learn how to knit. But I became a regular presence, sitting and knitting. I did solve a few knitting issues for Abby, and I retaught John Stark how to knit. Knitting is a very calm activity, and it's a good way to start conversations. So when I show up at Gather as a volunteer, there are usually 3 or 4 of us, I get there a half an hour early to open up and make coffee. We put out snacks, figure out what's for lunch. When we open the doors, we sit around and chat, but we try to greet each person who arrives so that they know that they're welcome. I usually get at my knitting, and I sit in the living room area where regulars comment on my progress, and newcomers ask what I'm making. Everyone was delighted when I finished a complicated sweater for my son that took over a year. One regular has been making cross-stitch Kleenex box holders for everyone she knows, and sometimes we trade yarn. Other than making coffee and serving food, there's little to distinguish the volunteers from the guests. In fact, we try to de-emphasize that distinction. When someone comes in who I don't know, I approach them as a person, not as a client or a fellow service provider, forgive the air quotes. Over time, relationships have developed. We held a memorial service for a regular who died suddenly, even though we didn't know his last name. We worry about folks who stop showing up or who are looking too thin. So, what's the spirituality behind Gather? Now, I'm speaking for Bread Loaf Mountain Zen, but I hope I'm using their words. It's a practice of the Bread Loaf Mountain Zen community, but it's not explicitly Zen for people who come as either volunteers or guests. Like CVUUS, they don't proselytize. But they created a list of values behind Gather: safety, hospitality, and belonging. They describe belonging this way: we nurture a sense of connection and community where everyone has a place and every voice matters. We practice being genuinely interested in one another, discovering what we share, and building a culture of care for each other's health, happiness, and safety. To me, that last sentence was what hit me. We practice being genuinely interested in one another, and that sums up what I came to learn at Gather. Now, how does that connect to my UU spirituality? I dug around in my computer, and I found the service that my husband Jordan and I wrote in 1992 about what we believed. I'm going to read a little excerpt. I look at life as an ongoing learning community where all of us are given opportunities to learn lessons about truth and love. Life is not a school because that implies teachers and students. Instead, each of us is both student and teacher to those with whom we have contact. It's more like maybe a graduate school where we're all learning together. Sometimes this is very obvious to me. Life puts me in a situation, for example, I'd be happier if I stopped getting angry at someone at work. What's interesting is that if I don't do that learning, if I continue to fume about it, the same lesson appears in another part of my life. Someone else comes along who makes me angry the same way. Sometimes life has to hit me over the head with a lesson 3 or 4 times before I get it. The faster we can identify the lessons in life and truly learn from them, the happier our lives are, and the easier the next lesson is. With each lesson learned, we get lighter. What proof can I offer that this is the way the universe works? None. But this way of looking at life, for me, lets me see positive aspects in almost everything and feel progress in my life. It also lets me appreciate the people who are playing the annoying or antagonistic roles that provide the learning situations that I need. So, 1992 was a while ago, and I'm thinking about how I feel about what I wrote then. Maybe I'll give a future sermon with an update. So how has Gather changed that thinking? Gather, and Joshin in particular, have taught me about curiosity. Reverend Tricia, one of our 2 interim co-ministers, recently talked about imagination and curiosity in a sermon. People frequently value knowing over learning, she said. We leap into answers without knowing the questions. That's exactly what happened to me a couple of times when folks at Gather said things I found challenging. Once a woman started what sounded to me like a lead up to an anti-trans comment, something about teachers using students' preferred pronouns instead of their correct pronouns. I immediately bristled and the conversation ended. Another time, I was talking to a man about his job at a grocery store and how they were shorting his pay. I gather that wage theft is not uncommon. I sympathized, and I wondered whether it would be worth finding a lawyer. He dismissed this with an anti-Semitic remark, suggesting that all lawyers are Jewish. My mouth immediately said, "Don't go there," before my brain even had a chance to engage. I took a breath. I noted that my name, Levine, is perhaps the most Jewish name on earth, and that people usually assume that I'm Jewish. I didn't know it was a Jewish name until I was in 8th grade, because I was brought up UU. I could have skipped school for all those holidays. Now, when he saw my reaction, heard my reaction, he walked the comment back, and we were able to continue the conversation in a fairly friendly manner, but there was now a divide. And of course, my friend George, with his MAGA hat at the Women's March, I asked Joshin for advice about how to respond to comments that I find offensive. Not that this is common at Gather, but it happens. I don't feel like I can just let them go by. Be curious, he recommended. He suggested that I ask, what experiences lead the commenter to say that? What personal experience might they have had? And what feelings surround that experience? Where is that comment coming from? Be curious about the person before or instead of responding to the comment. Look for common ground. Then think about what might be helpful to say that indicates that you disagree. Curiosity is that first step. And the second is engagement. I could have walked away, angry and dismissing that man with his anti-Semitic remark, or George with his hat. Instead, I've been learning to engage, however clumsily, so that I can continue to be in community with the other person, even if we disagree. I've started working on not leaping into answers without knowing the questions, not making assumptions about people. What led that woman to make that remark about the pronouns? I'll never know. This is particularly interesting at Gather. We're volunteers, charter house folks looking for a free meal, lonely people looking for company during the day, and folks just stopping in for a free cup of coffee mingle. We don't know who's a Gather volunteer, who's homeless, who's a local therapist, who's a social worker from CSAC checking on a client, who's a gifted stonemason, who is, in my view, delusional about some basic facts about who they are. Who's anybody? Just anybody. I work on approaching everyone with a curiosity about what kind of person they are and what we might have to talk about, and then being willing, no, eager to engage with them. Curiosity and engagement. Watching my baby granddaughter, now asleep, I think, I see them both in her. She wants to explore everything without judgment. She is totally engaged when she's awake. Why is this all important to me? In this political climate, we all know it's vital that we connect with people who are outside our usual circles. We all understand the vital importance of talking across the various lines that divide us. But how? I've never had a handle on how to do that. Curiosity and engagement were, in retrospect, an obvious aspect of my beliefs about life as an ongoing learning community. I can't learn about people if I'm not curious and if I don't engage with them. And as I grow older, it's easy to think that I know enough. You never know enough. In 1992, I wrote about the people who are playing the annoying or antagonistic roles that provide the learning situations I need. Curiosity turns out to be a tool for learning those life lessons. Curiosity about challenging people, and also about the people I think I know well. I think curiosity is a way that we can all work on healing society's rifts a little bit, a little local, a little one person at a time way. I need to continue to seek out opportunities to connect with people who are different from me, different backgrounds, different class, different experiences, different expectations, different privileges or lack thereof. I think we all do. And Gather is one place that I find these opportunities. In the words of Lois van Leer, having let go, set our intentions, named our curiosity, committed our energies, and given ourselves over to lives of balance, purpose, and meaning, let us begin again in love. Blessed be.
I guess hardly anybody took an order of service today. So we're now going to sing number 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. Stand as you are able. And now we're going to extinguish our chalice before our postlude. Again, these words are in the order of service. You join with me if you have it. We extinguish this flame, remembering always to keep love at the center.